Hi, my name is Carla de Guzman. I'm a romance writer from the Philippines, and today we are doing our usual monthly recap. So, if this is your first time on my channel, hello, welcome, and thank you for watching. Every month I try to do a recap of all the books I read for the month, and I give like sort of mini reviews, talk about why I liked it so much, why I didn't like it as much. And then I put on makeup while I do that. We're going to start with April. I read one book in April, and You Me US by Bridge Bautista. I love the title, by the way. Like, of course Bridge will think of the wittiest title. I have been waiting for Bridge to come out with a new book ever since I read Don't Tell My Mother, which was her first book. And because Bridge has this ability to write things that are funny, witty, and incredibly heartfelt at the same time. She can make you laugh one page, and then by the next page she's having you weeping with feelings. And that's how I felt when I read You Me US. Basically, Liza's big life plan is to find a man or marry someone who'll help her get to the US, get a job there, and support her family from there. And Joe never says anything not in support of Liza's plan. And I thought that journey was so beautiful. Like the way Joe goes from like being so non-committal to someone who is ready to be like the very important person in someone's life. That's a huge, I felt like it was a huge step for Joe, and I was really happy to follow her on that journey. Which is why I'm saying I enjoy this book a lot. And is Bridge writing a new book? Because I need to know. So for May, the very first book I read was Sugar Moon by Jen Hallock. I love Allegra because she seems like the person I would be friends with, like a person I'd be friends with. Allegra is very outspoken. She's very modern. Like Allegra is a very modern person for someone in that time period, and Sugar Moon is basically her story. And what Jen did was she paired Allegra up with Ben Potter. Now this is super interesting because Ben Potter is kind of the, well, I would say like he's the villain of Under the Sugar Sun, but not really because he's a victim. Blah, blah. Anyway, so things happened to Ben in the Philippines where he was part of the Balangiga massacre. A moment in history which I didn't know a lot about, by the way, until I read Sugar Moon. Okay, sorry about that. I had to move because my ring light was dying. So I liked that I was able to read that part of my history because of Sugar Moon. But we're here for the romance. So let's talk about Ben and Allegra. I like them as a couple. Like, I'm a huge fan of a redemption story, and I was just rooting for Ben the entire time. Ben was very much alone in what he was going through, even when he was married to Allegra, which is not a spoiler, by the way. You want to see Ben and Allegra working together to get through it, but it was more of Ben fighting his own inner demons and Allegra just being there and waiting for him to come out the other side. So many things happened in this book. That by the end of it, I was exhausted, both for myself and for these characters for what they went through. In conclusion, I loved this book. I think I loved it more than I realized because of Allegra, because I love her. And I'm just so happy that she's happy, you know? So many books came out in May, and one of the other like perfect trifecta Instabuy authors that I had was Lucy Parker. And everyone knows that the Austen Playbook came out in May, and the moment it came out I was like, all right, let's read it. The thing with the Austen Playbook that I enjoyed and didn't like so much was that there were so many things happening. I think I got to a point where I was almost done with the book and I'm like, oh my god, how are they gonna wrap this all up? There's so many things going on. Because if it wasn't Griff and Freddie's tension, it was Griff's problems with the estate, it was Griff's problems with his parents, Griff's problems with his brother, Freddie's problem with her sister's problem with someone else, Freddie's problems with her co-stars, her director, and then there was that huge family mystery, which, by the way, I loved so much because that kind of family story would not be like out of place in the Philippines. I can totally imagine something like that happening in the Philippines. That kind of family drama is what we live for. The moment they started to admit their feelings for each other and, you know, started snuggling and cuddling and stuff, it was just so perfect. It's like, yes, even after all of that, I mean, I'm sure you guys will be fine. I'm so happy for you both. Even if it seems impossible, even if there were 5 seconds where I thought they would be siblings. Pair all of that with Lucy's like wit and humor, like which of course we've all loved from her other books. It makes for the best read. By the way, can I just say, I'm kind of in love with Charlie. Charlie is Griff's brother. Was he older or younger? I don't remember. He was the brother. But I fell in love with Charlie the moment he had sweets in his pocket. If Lucy, if you're watching this, if you decide to write a short story about Charlie, please send it to me. I would like to read it because I love him so much. Okay, thank you. Goodbye. After the Austen playbook, I jumped right into No Two Ways by Chi Rodriguez. I know she's kind of gonna. I know she's gonna hate me because she's like, "How can you read a Lucy Parker and then my book?" But you know, it's okay, Chi, because I loved your book. I mean, okay, it's kind of biased, like a little bit, because number one, I love Chi like as a human being, and I was sure that anything she wrote for this book would be from her soul. And that's what No Two Ways was. It was her soul on paper. It felt exactly like listening to someone talk for hours and hours and hours, and you never get sick of them talking. There's a plot line about AJ and an ex, and then someone that she met before but was kind of falling for now, had issues with. But for me, all of that was secondary to AJ's journey, and I think it made this book incredibly strong. And it just makes me want to read more from Chi now that she's writing characters like AJ, like fully realized 360-degree beautiful friend characters like AJ. I'm so excited. So congrats, Chi. It's so good, girl. Now I hear you complaining. It's like, oh my god, Carla, was there any book that you read this month that you didn't like? Yes, of course. There was a US haul video. I was talking about how much I really like the Veronica Speedwell mysteries. But I hated this book. Like, I didn't even finish it. I think I DNF'd it. Because, oh my god, okay. So this is like the 4th or 5th book in the series. And finally, Veronica and Stoker are like thinking about their relationship with each other. I mean, the thing I like most about Veronica and Stoker's relationship is that they can literally talk about anything. Veronica talks constantly about how she's had multiple partners, both men and women, how she's not shy about sex. But when she and Stoker talk, they're both so emotionally constipated. It's not fun. It's not fun. And like, and there's a whole subplot with Stoker's brother, which is just making things all the more unnecessarily complicated. And I actually stopped reading the book when Stoker's brother, what's his name, Templeton Vane, admits to Veronica that he was basically emotionally abusing his wife because he was still in love with his friend's wife. And that just made me incredibly uncomfortable enough to want to stop reading. I mean, I like this series. And suddenly it just went like, for me. Hey Gabs, why are you just gotta take it and press it on. With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo came out, and whoa, I was excited for it. I've said it time and time in here again on this channel that I don't usually read YA. I mean, this is the most YA that I've read ever. Like, and only because I liked Elizabeth Acevedo's voice so much in Pride, when I listened to Pride by E.B. Zoboy. Okay, With the Fire on High is basically a collection of Imani's thoughts and feelings, that all of her thoughts and feelings from her senior year of high school. And Elizabeth's writing is so sharp and so on point. I found myself highlighting almost every last few sentences of each chapter. There were chapters that talk about how she feels about getting pregnant at such a young age, how she got pregnant at a young age, how she feels about her father, how she feels about food, how she connected food to happiness, how she feels about her daughter. There was a chapter where she, her abuela, and her friend make a Halloween outfit for her daughter, and I remember distinctly the chapter title was Coven, and she was saying that the three of them were they were like encouraging her daughter to be whatever she wanted to be because it was what they could give her. It was beautifully written. If you listen to Elizabeth Acevedo's narration, it's even better, and you just wanted everyone to be happy. well, I think I feel that I think I feel that about characters that I really like, especially with a book like this that is basically a character study of Imani as a whole. It was really about who Imani is, what makes her who she is, how she's not just a mother, she's also a student, she's also a daughter, she's also a granddaughter, she's also a best friend, a chef, everything. And that kind of character studies and how she develops into this person by her graduation is so well written. And I'm so glad I got a chance to read it. The next book I read, I'm sure everyone has read this. It was Alyssa Cole's A Prince on Paper. Now, I have heard so much about A Prince on Paper. It was one of those books where everyone was hyping it up and everyone loved it so much. And I like Jojo and Naya. I like them together. But it just got to a point where I was like, guys, stop fighting! Stop it! Just be happy! Like they just, I felt like they didn't want to be happy. And it was frustrating. I found myself laughing at the funny parts. I love that he called her Sugar Bubble. I mean, although it's not a very practical nickname, like Sugar Bubble, Sugar Bubble, Sugar Bubble, it's hard. But it could have used more something. I can't, see, this makes me a horrible reviewer because I can't tell you what would make this book better, what would make me like this book more. But I did, because I didn't hate it, but I didn't super love it either. I'm still trying to analyze what it is. I'm still thinking about it. I will tell you if I've managed to think about it. I used to be a K-pop fan, like in 2010. I was a 2010 K-pop fan. I loved Sonyeoshite, Girls' Generation, and I am still a huge fan of CN Blue, but all of the boys are in the military right now. I watched all of their concerts when they came to Manila. I was there. So when I read things like Play It By Ear, it just brings me back to like college age, a little post-college age Carla. Was so in love with these people. And they're good memories. They're really good memories. But then you mix it with Tara's writing, it's like an emotional sledgehammer. I thought Yiwon needs a happy ending, and he couldn't have found it in a better person than Yoo-jung. Because Yoo-jung has been through so much. She deserved to have her sexy, broody lead singer guy. Tara is so gutsy when it comes to these series. She really talks about like major issues that's happening in the K-pop drama industry. You know, she's a fan who just wants the best for the industry. And what she presents in Play It By Ear is a very real version of what's been going on. Characters that you find yourself investing in. So it makes it a really fun read. I mean, I didn't even care. Like, it comes to a point when you don't really care about what happens in All Kill Champion. You just want to know if these two people end up together, how they end up together, and what their happy ending would be like. And I think that makes this book a really good one. And I highly recommend picking it up if you're looking for, if you're a fan of K-pop, if you're a fan of Korean drama, actually if you're a fan of anything, if you're a fan of romance, I really think you should pick up Play It By Ear because I enjoyed it so much. And my makeup's not yet done. Hang on. So I think that's it. Those are all the books I read in the month of May. But I am currently audiobooking Dawn Lanuza's Stay a Little Longer. I keep telling, every time I tweet about this book, it's like, girl, Dawn. My God, she got such a good audiobook reader. I'll talk about it next month. But I'm listening to that. I'm also reading A Symphony of Seduction. I've talked about this book before when I bought it from National Bookstore. It's basically like the love stories of these musicians, of these composers, and they are crazy. And then we're going to put on some Fenty. This is Fussy, which is probably my favorite shade, and which is why I never use this, because I want to save it. Okay, so this is kind of what I was going for, like glowy, then flowers. That's it. These were all the books that I read and loved and didn't love so much from the month of April and May. For June, I don't know, I think the number of books is going to slow down considerably, given that all of the huge releases just happened. But I do have the audiobook for Bollywood Bride by Sonali Dev, which I'm super excited for. I have Courtney Milan recently put the entire Brother Sinister box set on sale, so I might read that for June. And I'm still working on the Symphony of Seduction one because I am currently trying to write something of that line. So that's all. That's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like this look because I'm going to put it on in a couple of days again. Please subscribe if you haven't already. As you can see, I don't upload every Wednesday anymore, but I do try. I try. So if you like what you see, if you're interested in any other topics, let me know in the comments section below and I will try to do them. I'll try to do them, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.